Applied econometrics. What are endogenous and exogenous variables? How to know? With Professor A.K. Enamelhawk.
So I have y as a set of variable. I have another set of variable. I look at x1, I look at x2, I look at x3. These variables are influencing my decision on choice of y. So I understand that y is a dependent variable. I want to explain why in the data set. Remember, what is the data set? Data set is I goes from 1 to n. When we say data set is I goes from 1 to n, it means I'm collecting from many people's data. So whatever the variable they have decided on y, values are different between all different people. For some people, y is 5. For another people, y is 3. For another people, y is 10. So different people has different value of y, which we are saying that y as a set of variable varies across different observation. At the same time, x also varies. Not that y is varying alone, x is also varying. For one it is 1, for one it is 3, it is 7, for another one it is 4. x2 is also varying. Maybe 5, maybe 3, maybe 2, maybe 1. x3 also varies. 10, 15, 12, 10. So I'm looking at all these variables, everything is changing. I'm collecting data from, in this case, n individuals. And when I'm collecting from n individuals, all of them varies. Now the question is, let us think about it. This is my health, state of health. Whatever way you define, you have to measure it, right? So you, whatever is, or number of working days, even a better example, easier example at the moment, so that I don't go to binary. So this is my number of working days. So number of working days, how many days I worked in the last 15 days. So somebody was working and somebody was saying, if I'm working the last 15 days, I collected data. So this is working day. And we said, this is one variable, which may be, so this may be, let's say this is your wage. So yes, wage is telling me whether I should work or maybe at a particular wage I will not work. Maybe this is, for example, let's say group members. So am I working as a group or am I alone? Maybe this is another variable. Let's say this variable is location. So different people in different location, now different group members, different wages, worked how many days. Now it may also happen that if I look into this, some of these variables, and this particular case, let's say another one, x4, and this is the education. So this is my education, and let's say this is 7th grade, this is 10th grade, this is 3rd grade, this is 0. This is my education. So I'm looking at this. The question is, if I'm looking at number of working days, are these variables dependent variable or independent variable? They're all variables. Think about this. And then you might say, wait a minute, my level of education is actually also as a, so it may be possible that you choose education in order to increase or decrease your number of days. It may happen that because you are engaged in something else for which your number of days is changing. So it may happen that I was studying something. So education may be, number of days in a school I was going. I was working, I was not working because I was doing something else. So it may happen that this is also dependent on this. How many working days I'm working, that depends on how many days I have classes. So maybe that is also, in that case, my decision on working days is dependent on education, but my education is also dependent on working days. So unless you know the agent, and that's why economics start with agent. And who are the agents? Economics has only 2 agents. We can add more. We said, look, you are looking at the agent's point of view. The agent is taking a decision. Is the agent taking a decision which are linked to each other? If they're linked to each other, like these two, this is called multicollinearity. It is not endogeneity. So there is a difference between multicollinearity and endogeneity. Simultaneous equation models means y is a function of x1, x2, x3, but x2 may be a function of y, x1, x4. So now realize that, in other words, we don't say it is y x2 anymore. We say this is y2, and this is y2, and this is y1. So realize that what we change the notation. But this notation change is only for mathematician to understand. In real life, it's the same variable. Variable cannot say I am a y. Variable will say I am a variable. You have to decide as a researcher that, okay, is it an endogenous variable? Is it an exogenous variable? The moment it is an endogenous variable, that means I need a function for this variable. So you need a function for this variable, because if this variable is also a choice variable. So the key function idea is word called choice variable. Is it a variable that an agent is making a choice? If he is making a choice, if it is within his control, that means it must be an endogenous variable. If that choice is outside his control, it's an exogenous variable. So the question is, in a macroeconomy, we say, is consumption controlled by GDP? Answer is yes. Economic strength, size of the economy tell you how much I consume. That's why we say consumption is an endogenous variable. Is investment controlled by the GDP? Answer is yes. The size of the economy will tell you how much to invest. That is why it is an endogenous variable. Is government expenditure controlled, is an exogenous variable? Answer is yes, because the size of the government budget is determined by the size of the economy. Taxation is part of it. Is export an endogenous variable? Answer is yes, export is also an endogenous variable, because export depends on the size of the economy. So now realize that decision making is coming from the economy point of view, and we know what are the import is also the same.
Please subscribe to this channel for notification on new videos.